Let's combine the ignorance, stupidity, hypocrisy, and arrogance of racism and climate change. Now, we know that the white power controls America and industry. Why wouldn't big energy companies, Exxon, etc., go right for hydrogen fuel cells and generate the energy instead of from oil, from water? What's more expensive, desalinating seawater or drilling 20,000 foot wells and destroying the environment like BP did? That's a $20 billion pop. So let's just factor that in, because that happens, and it did happen. So what's the cost? Because we're not going to screw up anything desalinating water. And there's no end to water. We don't have to find it. It's in the ocean. And using solar and wind for electric power, for an electrolysis process to generate hydrogen from the desalinated water. You have hydrogen going in one end of the fuel cell and electricity coming out the other end, and there's absolutely zero environmental impact, poison, nothing coming out. It's pure. It's perfect. Why would anybody ignore something that obvious? Because they're so freaking arrogant and hypocritical. They just can't say, whoa, hey, what are we doing? Blowing all this money on what? Why aren't we just making hydrogen fuel cells and completely convert all the power coming from nuclear, coal, oil to hydrogen fuel cells, both in a stationary facility, just making electric power, and in vehicles? No more internal combustion engines, only hydrogen fuel cells. Guess what would happen? If the government mandated it, because the free market is obviously not smart enough to say, hey, I don't want an internal combustion engine poisoning everybody. I want a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle where there's no poison. And guess what would happen? Gasoline price would tank. 16 million vehicles a year. That would wipe out the demand for gasoline, and the price would collapse. So why wouldn't any politician say, hey, elect me, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to pass a bill, just like we did in 1975. We eliminated leaded gas, just flat out, 1975. And does anybody say, wow, I really would love to have that leaded gas again? No. And then I hear this crap about platinum. Like, oh, what about the platinum? Yeah, what about it? They put platinum in the catalytic converter. So without gasoline, you don't need a catalytic converter. And that platinum can go into the hydrogen fuel cell. Okay? Is that too tough? Now let's talk about racism for a minute. Since it never ends, we're on a Donald Sterling deal, right? I don't know who would really want to hang out with Donald Sterling. He's such a jerk and an asshole. So when he told his girlfriend, I don't want you bringing those people around, the black people, the celebrities, the incredible, fantastic, brilliant, hardest working people on the planet. He doesn't want his girlfriend to bring them around. Why would they even want to be around That's what I don't understand. So the problem now is that black people fail to understand, screw these white, hypocrite, arrogant nitwits who destroyed the entire banking industry. Oh, what about all these shooters that went into these schools for years now and shot these kids? All of them white. What about them? Imagine if they were black. That's all you would hear. You wouldn't hear anything but that. Okay? But they don't say, well, those white guys, those white kids that did it. No. They're just the shooters. The screwball weirdo shooters. They just happen to be white. Every one of them. Okay? What about the quarterbacks in the NFL? For decades, they said, well, blacks they're not smart enough to be quarterbacks. Right? Let's not forget that. Okay? Since they went on and on about it for decades. Let's remind them all the time about that idiotic idea. I mean, like, if you didn't understand when Jackie Robinson broke into the majors and became one of the greatest players in the game, if that didn't dawn on you, then what about Willie Mays? Not to mention Larry Doby and others. But I mean, Willie Mays, my God. Spectacular, for God's sakes. Okay? What about the SEC football players that were all white until Bear Bryant invited USC to come and play in Alabama, and they just whooped them. Okay? They just whooped them. Oh, well, we better get some black players. Okay. You see, what's going on here? And we're worrying about, well, what did he say? This, the N-word, and like, good for them. Screw them and the N-word, okay? They can say whatever they freaking want and stay in their hole. And what we're going to do, I hope, if I can really make Reverend Sharpton, who, by the way, navigated through all kinds of obstacles, some of which he made. Tawana Brawley, let's not forget Tawana Brawley, okay? But the point is, he could have just fell by the wayside, but he didn't. He reinvented himself. He is now one of the most powerful people with a TV show every night, who talks to the top people in the country. So, you see, with all this power, we could elect a third party, just because if the black voters became libertarians, throw these white people right out of the Libertarian Party, okay? And we'll run it now. And before I go any further about white people, let's not forget, there's a few good white people. They're not all bad. Let's recall Customato and what he did with Mike Tyson, and brought him into his home. He didn't just train him in a gym. He lived with Cuss. Mike lived with Cuss. Okay? Keep that in mind. And so, what about those white people that helped slaves escape and risk their lives doing it? So there's not all bad white people. But by and large, I mean 99%, stink to high heaven. They're racist, they're ignorant, they're arrogant, and they're all hypocrites. You see? So all we have to do is tell the truth, and we're going to turn the tables on the Democrats. Instead of black people voting for the Democrats are going to vote Libertarian. You see? Because they don't want the Republicans to take over. Oh, that's for sure. You see the strategy? We're going to win. We're going to win and save America from absolute destruction by these white screwballs that have run it into the ground and can't understand anything, including hydrogen fuel cells. They're bribing, the Congress is bribing these oil and coal and nuclear power people, and the kickback is to never mention hydrogen fuel cells. Never. And I just watched the hell out of this. Okay? They're making damn sure they just keep pumping oil and blowing it into the atmosphere. 80 million tons of poison every day. Not to mention blowing the tops off mountains to get the coal and destroying the entire water system. In West Virginia, people couldn't even use it for a shower, let alone to drink or use it for cooking. That's how screwed up white people are. Okay? So that's what we need to do. We need to recover here. We need to use the power. And by the way, celebrities, oh man, we got the ball players, the musicians, the comedians, the politicians, you name it. You name it. All types of professional people that are black and top. Look at Maya Angelou. What a spectacular person she was. You see? This is what needs to be done right now. And I can only hope the Reverend Sharpton is going to consider what I'm saying so we can really turn this ship around before it just completely just wipes out. Thank you.